Did anyone have a birthday this week? I love birthdays. If you did, a quick shout out to you from Warehouse and Operations as a Career. I'm Marty, and we're all going to realize another year passing by sometime within the next 365 days. We age. And with that aging comes great memories and some fantastic experiences. We grow within our family, and we start our own families. The same goes for our jobs and careers. We gain experience performing our task and move up within the many different departments. As we've learned here at WAOC, it is important to have plans and goals. And we need to keep adjusting them to fit our new accomplishments and our life opportunities. I think most of us are planning by now and journaling so that we can stay ahead of this game called life. But one thing I feel we don't think enough about is our exit strategy. What are you going to do when you're not quite the best of the best anymore? I mean, we won't always be that top order selector or the best forklift, operator or loader or unloader. Even in our frontline management positions, there'll come a time when we are not going to enjoy or maybe even be able to chunk a few of those cases. With all the planning and goal setting that you're doing this year, are you in long-term mode? Do you have an exit plan already in place? Or at least one maybe in the works? Today I'd like to talk about just that, an exit strategy. After last week's episode, I heard from a friend of ours, Cindy B. Brown. You remember her. She hosts the podcast Unlocking the Secrets to Living Rich. If you have not caught an episode, I'd urge you to check it out. You will be richer next year if you can do even 10% of her suggestions. And she will be introducing a new financial podcast next month. Anyway, she passed along the idea of exit jobs for aging warehouse workers. Hence, today's thoughts were born. I'm pretty excited about today's show. I really started thinking about it. Within our industry, there could be quite a gap between, when we're tired of it or can't perform at that level anymore, our best of the best level any longer, and maybe even our retirement. And I think that gap is really years and miles apart. Shoot, I know many people, aged and experienced, that are working today and still loving their jobs, me being one of them. I reached out to one gentleman, a longtime friend who had been in the warehouse sanitation field for over 40 years. Now, this guy can tell you everything that you want to know about the USDA, FDA, AIB, BRC, or city inspector and fire marshal, and what they're going to be looking for, and what kind of reporting that you'd better have, at hand to where you can show them. He loves the art of keeping a warehouse clean. But that involves a lot of walking, bending, pulling, and pushing. He had been a sanitation worker and then a lead at this one company for it was a little bit over 33 years. Throughout the years, he had self-educated himself regarding audits and how to conduct them. He learned how to properly use the cleaning equipment and chemicals needed to keep his workers and warehouse safe and clean. He had suggested, attending seminars and conferences for himself or a member of management to attend so that the company could stay informed about new procedures and processes that were on the market each year. Now, they had never had a supervisor position over sanitation. The director of operations had always just overseen it. But my friend had a plan. He had a plan for over 20 years. He shared with me that he had taken all of those courses and stayed up to date with his industry because he could see how important record keeping was going to be on down the line. He witnessed the tide turning within his field and all the regulations that were being developed. His plan was to be that sanitation supervisor, and he made it happen. He grew into it as the industry and company grew into it. He planned, and rightfully so, and he's proud of it. Another person I called had just retired from his company as a forklift operator. He'd worked for them as a lift driver for 34 years. I was talking to him about what I wanted the topic to be today, and he too shared that he had started planning for his exit after his first 10 years with the company. He'd seen a lot of them, other operators, the old-timers that were there when he was young, just not able to perform at that ever-increasing productivity level, and they had very little to fall back on. He explained that he had participated in every financial program that his company had to offer. Their pension plan, the 401k program, any kind of stock purchases that they offered. Now, he shared that there were weeks that he skipped lunches or, weeks that they were kind of lean around the house. But he had a plan and he stuck to it. And that plan paid off for him. He is very comfortable living through his golden years. He feels accomplished, and I think he is. He put 2 kids through college and is living the dream by the lake in his family's little lake ranch house. He had an exit plan. So is it too late for us that have not thought of an exit plan to do so? Of course not. Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, I'm one that would like to kind of expand on that idea. I'd also like to share that neither of the 2 gentlemen we just spoke about enjoyed not going to work, and they both are doing side hustles just to be doing something. But we'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes. So what are a few career changes we can consider in staying within the industry that we love? Well, there are quite a few opportunities out there. I know one individual that after spending about 20 years in the warehouse field as an order selector, probably working with 10 to 12 different companies throughout his career, today he is a recoup person. No productivity, simply making the decision to discard returned product or clean it up and place it back into inventory. With today's e-commerce and online ordering, he saw his present facility needing a dedicated person to issue all those return authorization codes and, handling the growing volume of returned product. He loves his new career. Another order selector, a gentleman with over 25 years of selecting experience, he has worked for just about all the large food service distributors and is now sharing all that knowledge by being a trainer at his job. He tells me it was a bit of an adjustment for him. Instead of teaching his new boots how he did it, cutting corners, not following all the rules, especially all the preferred work methods and safety processes, but instead teaching them the proper way of being the best. I think both of these are great choices. The first gentleman saw a need, spoke with his management, and created his position. And the second guy, he put those years of experience towards a good cause in training others to perform a task that can lead to their long-term careers. Cindy mentioned the recruiter position may be a great move for that aging-out warehouse person. I could not agree more. I believe any of us with warehousing and, all of those experiences could bring a lot to the table for any staffing agency. Recruiting can be taught. Not that it isn't a hard and stressful job, but it can be taught fairly easily when coupled with the many years of experience we have with working with the very candidates that we're going to be speaking with. Who better to hire a warehouse person than one that has done the task? I'm actually working with a recruiter right now that came from the world of unloading. He then became an unloading supervisor and on to being a great order selector, then to receiving, and now, he's a recruiter. I'm kind of in talks with him about being an upcoming guest. He's been on the show a couple of times already. I can't wait to learn what he thinks about being a hiring agent now. Okay, I keep talking about, other positions within the industry. But our exit plans can be a host of other things in even different industries. There are a lot of side hustles out there. Maybe we don't want or need to work full time. Be sure to check out Cindy's episode of Unlocking the Secrets to Living Rich. It was, episode number 133 from April 15th of 2020. It was titled COVID Side Hustles. And I would suggest to cruise through her site. She has several other topics on, side hustles, and there's a lot of different ways to make additional income. A few things some of my friends have going on is being a notary public, or even a notary signing agent, helping people with mortgage documents, kind of just witnessing their signatures. I've helped a couple of people become process servers, delivering legal documents to people who have court appearances. Oh, and I know a guy that is making a good living by officiating weddings. Yes, he was ordained by an online ministry a few years ago so he could marry his best friend and his new wife. Found out that he enjoyed it and now performs weddings every weekend. Now, yes, it is so important that we learn to plan and set goals, and don't forget about journaling throughout our careers either. But it is even more important that we have an exit plan. We all want to kick back on the front porch with a cool beverage in our hand at the end of the road, right? Well, I could keep talking about those things, but I want to thank you for checking in with us this week, and remember to check out our Twitter and Facebook feeds using that little @ WHSEANDOPS, where the discussion continues pretty much 24 hours a day. Until next week, think long term, and remember our safety and your team's safety has to be a part of that plan.